Hi, everybody. I'm Ricky Heller from rickyheller.com, for those who don't know me. And I help people on restricted diets learn to eat, cook, and love their food again without feeling deprived or missing out on any of your favorite foods. And it can be easy. So today I want to talk about something that I have been hearing a lot from my clients in recent weeks, and that is whether you're newly diagnosed with food restrictions or maybe you've been doing it for a while, I hear the same thing from my clients, which is that it seems to be very difficult, or let us say challenging, if not impossible, to stick with within your dietary restrictions over the holiday period. And I know that a lot of people are struggling with that. So I wanted to come on today and talk a little bit about this and just look at perhaps why that is such an issue for people and what we can do about that, because I do not believe it has to be that way. I've been following my dietary restrictions for going on 20 years now. I can't believe it's that long. And I'm at the point where for me, this just is natural. I don't feel that it is a big issue anymore. So I wanted to look at some of the factors that play into this, and so that you can maybe address those and take a closer look at them. So the first thing I think to consider, it makes total sense that we would be disappointed if we've been eating a certain way and we know that, so in Canada here, this weekend is Thanksgiving. And so maybe you've been following certain traditions in your Thanksgiving, or you have favorite foods that you have every single year when it's Thanksgiving, and you just know that you're not going to be able to eat those things this year. So of course it makes sense that you're going to feel disappointed and perhaps anxious, and knowing in advance that you're going to be missing them. But I would say it's important to kind of shift that perspective a little bit, because are you really going to be missing them? So please say hi if you're on. I'd love to say hello to you. And if this resonates, feel free to give me some hearts anytime if I say something that really hits a nerve for you, so that I know I'm on the right track. But so, as I said, it's really, I think, very natural for us to consider that we're going to miss the foods that we would normally be eating. Hey, Cheryl, nice to see you. Okay, let's look at some of the factors that are at play here, because I think the first one that we don't actually always think about is that we are literally hardwired to love food, and also certain kinds of food. So it makes total sense. So just as an example, we're hardwired to love food and to seek out food, and particularly sweet food. If you think about mother's breast milk, it's much higher in natural sugars than almost anything else, certainly more than the cow's milk that a lot of people drink. And so for us, it's part of our genetic makeup that food that tastes good is something we are going to be drawn to. And also, if you think about a baby nursing, it's something that brings us comfort and something that is soothing for us. So if you have those associations with your holiday meals, and then you're thinking, I'm not going to be able to eat this, of course that's going to create anxiety and feelings like you are not able to enjoy something that everybody else is enjoying around you. So I think just to look at that as a sort of baseline for people, we are drawn to these kinds of foods. So I personally think we should not have to be without them. So that's really the first thing. But I would also ask you to consider, what is it that you're truly dreading about the holiday? So Cheryl's saying, I think I have an overactive carbohydrate neuron, especially over Thanksgiving. And the more we feed it, the more active it becomes, right? Hey, Vesta, good morning. It's not morning where I am, but maybe it is where you are. So nice to see you. Nice to see all these familiar names popping up. I'm just going to take a sip of tea there. So yeah, but I want you to ask yourself this question. What is it that you're truly dreading about the holiday? If you're dreading it, or what is it that you feel apprehensive about, or what are you anxious about? Is it really the fact that you're not going to be able to eat those foods? Because, excuse me, I have clients who tell me, when they're cooking their own food or when they're at home, they're following their program, their protocol 100%. And there's no thoughts about, I don't even want to say cheating, because I think that in itself is probably a really negative word that we don't want to apply to the way we eat. But they follow their dietary restrictions. They stay within the dietary boundaries 100%, and they feel great about it. And then they go to a holiday dinner, or they go to a birthday party, or they go to a restaurant with friends. And that's when they start to feel the pressure or the negative emotions around what they're eating. And they feel like they are missing out. They feel deprived. And that's when they tend to succumb and have those old foods again. And let me know if you've ever done that. I mean, I would be shocked if we had people who never did that. I certainly did that. But what's the outcome when you do that, right? How do you feel after you allow yourself to go back to eating those old foods and maybe have an evening out with friends, drinking the wine, having the pizza, having the tacos, whatever it may be? What is the consequence the next day? Let me know if you've ever done that. How has it turned out for you? How's that working out for you, right? So we know we're not supposed to be doing this, and yet somehow we feel drawn to it. So, but my question is, if you're perfectly fine on your own, what is it about that situation that's triggering this um, inability to stick with it? And so for many of us, it's just that sense of feeling left out of the crowd. So again, this is something that we don't think about consciously, but it is built into our genes that we are social animals. We are tribal people. And when you feel as if you are not part of the group or not part of the crowd, that's going to make you feel left out, like a pariah, like you are missing out on something that everybody else gets to enjoy. And so we tend to want to congregate with people that we can share common experiences or ideas with, right? Like that's why people join bridge clubs, or that's why they sign up for singing clubs, or that's why we go to vegan meetups, you know, in our city, so that we can find like-minded people and be part of that group. And what happens when you're the only one eating differently at a holiday meal is you're the one who has that spotlight shining on them that says, which one of these people is not like the others, right? So of course that's going to make you feel like you are not part of the crowd, but also self-conscious, perhaps a little bit unhappy with what you're eating. And I think if that happens all the time, it makes total sense that you would feel a little bit not only disappointed, discouraged, unhappy with the food that you have. And I know people bring foods, but I think the key is for us to be able to share our food with others, right? So if you're going to someone else's house, food that you can bring along, that not only is for you, but is for everybody. And if you're inviting people to your house, again, food that is not only for you, but is for everybody. So as an example, for Canadian Thanksgiving, there's just enough time still for this, but I'm just wrapping up the Thanksgiving prep mini program that's called Easy as Pie. And it's a mini program that shows people how to make substitutions, what you can have for each course of the meal, so that by the end of it, you have a full menu that you can serve to others without having to apologize or excuse yourself. I mean, I think that's the key. So when I serve these foods to people, I do not tell them it's any kind of special food. I don't say, here's my brownie, but it's gluten-free and egg-free, dairy-free, sugar-free. I don't say that. I say, here's some brownies for you. And I don't even tell them, and they don't know the difference. And so that was my goal with the Easiest Pie. So if you are celebrating Thanksgiving coming up, and you have a hold of the cookbook, or you are in the program, you're going to be set to go. Because when you're sharing meals, the way to create that community is literally through the sharing of the same thing, right? So if you do go to someone's home for the holiday, one of the best things you can do is bring a dish that everybody can have, and do not make excuses. Certainly if you're the person with the dietary restrictions and you know other people don't have them, then that's easy for you. You don't have to say anything about your dish. The only time you'd have to say something is if there's someone there who cannot have some of the ingredients in your dish, right? So bring the best recipes, and you can then share freely, and nobody is going to be the wiser. So I think that's a great tip. And then the third reason, so we have, hardwired for pleasurable foods, and also hardwired for wanting to belong, wanting to be part of the tribe. That's the second reason why I think it's hard for some of us at the holidays. But the third reason is something that is that comes to us afterwards. So it's more nurture than nature, and that is just pure habit. We are accustomed to doing things certain ways, right? And again, this goes back to just a basic human trait that we tend to engage in ritualistic behaviors. So a ritual is just basically something that marks a milestone. So like a wedding or a funeral or something like that. And most of these holidays originally were religious rituals, like Thanksgiving, for instance. But it's become a habit to do it a certain way. And now it just feels uncomfortable or like something is wrong if we don't do it that way. And so I would suggest forging new habits. So you don't have to overtake the entire Thanksgiving meal and do something completely different, or the entire Christmas meal, or whatever holiday we're talking about, but introduce one new element that may not be exactly the same in terms of the food. And just as an example, I have brought for many years, I have some fudgy brownies, which I actually just made on Instagram yesterday. They're sweet potato brownies, and they are amazing. And the recipe's in my book, Naturally Sweet and Gluten-Free. I have brought these brownies to my friends' Thanksgiving for going on 10 years now. And it's at the point where her kids will request them from me. So this is a new tradition. They didn't have them before I started bringing them, but now they're part of the ongoing tradition. And so if you can introduce new elements into the tradition that then become part of it, even if it's just one part of the meal, that's going to bring everyone together around this one element, right? So the habits, we can create new habits, and there are so many other ways that we can create new habits, but that's just one that I think can work really, really well at the holidays. So I hope those tips are helpful. You know, when we look at why is it so tough, if you're looking to find ways more of a shared event for you with your special eating needs and everybody else who may or may not have dietary restrictions, I hope that you will take a look at Easy as Pie. I put this together to actually lead people through every single course of the meal, and you've got an entire cookbook, which is the full menu. And for me, the best part is the Facebook group, where it's October 5th, but right up until the 7th, the day before Thanksgiving, I'm in there live every single day so that you can ask any questions about the meal. And it's always fun for me to answer those for people. So it's rickyheller.com/EAP. I think it can really make a difference for your holiday this year. Take a look at it. I'm sorry, EAP Canada, because we're dealing with Canadian Thanksgiving right now. We'll come back for American Thanksgiving in November. So let me know what your biggest challenges are when it comes to eating over the holidays. I would love to be able to help out. And just feel free to type them in the comments. If you're catching this later, let me know what is the biggest challenge for you with the holiday meal. And if you have some helpful advice for anybody else when it comes to their challenges, also feel free to share that, because I think everybody benefits when we share our information together. And if you are Canadian and celebrating in a couple of days, I want to wish you the best Thanksgiving this year. I hope that you do have a great meal where you share with everybody and you have community and you all enjoy together. So thanks for watching today, everybody. I'll come back and check if there are any other live comments. I'm just going to quickly look and see if there's anything else that I missed here. So Cheryl is saying exactly, oh, I'm sorry, you know what, the comments are not naturally scrolling and I would not have seen these. Sometimes fitting in, but mostly the familiar foods we all used to eat together and bond over. Exactly, Cheryl. So that's what I'm saying, is that in fact you can bring new versions of those foods that you can still bond over, and that the other people don't need to know that it's anything particularly different or special. So just as an example, one of the recipes from Easy as Pie, the grain-free, egg-free, dairy-free, sugar-free pumpkin pie on my site. Someone in the program last year told me it's their favorite pumpkin pie ever in their life. And they've made traditional, conventional pumpkin pies before. So if you bring this to your family and everybody loves it, that's starting a new tradition. That's starting something that everybody can enjoy and bond over. And you can eat safely. So you don't have to go off of your dietary restrictions in order for that to be a great holiday. So that's really my goal here, is for everybody to be able to eat food that is safe and good for their health, and that we can share and we can all